But not just any story. Oh no, that's a land. Oh god, that's a book. Ah, fuck! Anyway, Tommy, guess what we're going to do today?
What are we gonna do today, Silver?
You won't fucking believe it. Boy, do we do something quite unique here at Wonderwhack. We're going to read a story. Long ago, when wishes often came true, there lived a king whose daughters were all handsome. But the youngest was so beautiful that the sun himself, who had seen everything, was bemused every time he showed over her because of her beauty. Near and royal the castle, there was a great dark wood. That sounds like a porno.
The Great Dark Wood.
The Great Dark Wood. And in the wood, under the old leaden tree, was a well, and when the day was hot, the king's daughter used to go forth into the wood and sit by the brink of the cool well. She would take out a golden ball and throw it up and catch it again. And this was her favorite pastime. Now it happened one day that the golden ball, instead of falling back into the maiden's little hands, which had sent in aloft, dropped to the ground near the edge of the well and rolled in. The king's daughter followed it with his eyes. The well was deep, so deep that the bottom could not be seen. Then she began to weep, and she wept and wept and wept as if she could never be comforted. And in the midst of her weeping, she heard a voice saying to her, "What ails you, king's daughter? Your tears should melt the heart of stone." And when she looked up to see where the fuck the voice was coming from, Alright. And when she looked to see where the voice was coming from, there was nothing but a frog, stretching his thick, ugly head. I gotta flip the page. Out of the water. Oh, is it you, old Wilder? Waddleboo? This word. Oh, it is you, old Waddler. And I weep because my golden ball has fallen into the well. Never mind, do not weep, answered the frog. I can help you. But what will you give me if I fetch up your ball again? Whatever you like, dear frog, she said. See, that's where she fucked up. Any of my clothes, my pearls, my jewels, or even the golden crown that I wear, and maybe even a little bit of that pussy. Your clothes, your pearls, and your jewels, and your golden crown are not for me, answered the frog. But if you would love me and have me for your companion and playfellow, and let me sit by you at the table and eat from your plate. Wow. And drink from your cup and sleep in your little bed. If you would promise all this, and then would I dive and bellow to the waters and fetch your golden ball. Oh yes, answered she. I will promise it all. Whatever you want, if you will only get my ball again. But she thought to herself, what nonsense he talks! As if he could do anything but sit in the water and croak with all the other frogs, or could possibly be anyone's companion. But the frog, as soon as she heard her promise, drew his head under the water and sank down out of sight. But after a while, he came to the surface again, with the ball in his mouth, and he threw it on the grass. The king's daughter was just overjoyed to see her pretty little plaything, and she caught it up and ran with it. Stop, stop, cried the frog. Take me up too, I cannot run as fast as you. But it was god damn. But it was of no use, for croak after croak after croak, as he might, she would not listen to him. but made haste home and very soon forgot all about the poor frog, who had to betake himself to his well again. The next day, when the king's daughter was sitting at the table with the king and all of the court, and eating from her golden plate, there came something pitter-patter up to the marble stairs, and then came knocking at the door, and the voice crying, "Youngest king's daughter, let me in." And she got up and ran to see who it could be. But when she opened the door, there was a frog sitting on the outside. Then she shut the door hastily and went back to her seat, feeling very uneasy. The king noticed how quickly her heart was beating and said, "My child, what are you afraid of? Is there a giant standing at the door ready to carry you away?" "Oh no," answered she. "Oh yeah." "Oh no," answered she. "No giant, but a horrid frog." "And what does the frog want?" asked the king. "Oh, dear father," answered she, "when I was sitting by the well yesterday and playing with my golden nuts, it fell into the water, and while I was crying for the loss of it, the frog came up and got it for me, and on the condition he set, I would let him be my companion. But I never thought that he could leave the water and come after me. But now there he is outside the door, and he wants to come in me." I missed a word. It says, "come into me." But, come in me. I like that. And then they all heard him knocking the second time, crying, "Youngest king's daughter, open to me. By the well water, what promise you me? Youngest king's daughter, now open to me. That which thou hast promised must thou perform," said the king. "So go now and let him in." So she went and opened the door, and the frog hopped in, following at her heels, till she reached her chair, and then he stopped and cried, "Lift me to your seat by you." But she delayed doing so until the king ordered. When once the frog was on the chair, he wanted to get onto the table, and there he sat and said, "Now push your golden plate a little nearer, so that we may eat together." And so she did, but everybody might see how unwilling she was, and the frog feasted heartily, but every morsel seemed to stick in her throat. "I have had enough now," said the frog, at last. I'm gonna restart that. "I have had enough now," said the frog, "at last, and as I tired, you must carry me to your room and make ready a silken bed, and we'll lie down and go to sleep." Then the king's daughter began to weep, and was afraid of the cold fucking frog, and that nothing would satisfy him, but he must sleep in her pretty clean bed. Now the king grew angry with her, saying, "That which thou hast promised in thy time of necessity must thou now perform." So she picked up the frog with her finger and thumb, and carried him upstairs and put him in the corner. And when she had lain down to sleep, he came creeping up, saying, "I am tired and want to sleep as much as you. Take me up, or I will tell your father." Snitch ass, bitch ass frog. Then she felt beside herself with rage, and picking him up, she threw him with all her strength against the wall, crying,
Goddamn.
"Now will you be quiet, you horrid frog?" But as he fell, he ceased to be a frog, and became all at once a prince with a beautiful kind eyes. And it came to pass that with her father's consent, they became bride and bridegroom. And he told her how a wicked witch had bound him by her spells, and how no one but she alone could have released him, and that they two would go together to her father's kingdom, and there came to the door a carriage drawn by 8 white horses, with white plumes on their heads and within golden harnesses. And behind the carriage was standing a faithful Henry, the servant of the young prince. Now, faithful Henry had suffered such care and pain when his master was turned into a frog that he had been obliged to wear 3 iron bands over his heart to keep in from breaking with trouble and anxiety. When the carriage started to take the prince to his kingdom, the faithful Henry had helped them both in, and he got up behind them and was full of joy at his master's deliverance. And when they had gone a part of the way, the prince heard a sound at the back of the carriage, as if something had broken it, and he turned around and cried, "Henry, wheel must be breaking!" "Henry, wheel must be breaking," but Henry answered, "The wheel does not break. 'Tis the band around my heart that has lessened the ache. When I grieved for your sake, I bound rounded my heart." Again and yet once again, there was the same sound, and the prince thought it must be the wheel breaking. But it was the breaking of the other bands of faithful Henry's heart, because he was so relieved and happy.
English.
Wait, is that the end of the story?
Hey, is that it?
Yeah, that's it. So Henry's a happy boy. That's how the story is. In reality, it's Henry that he goes out to marry, and the princess is just there to just be a person, I guess.
Hopefully.
Wow.
Good damn.
Yeah. It just literally the story ends with Henry being happy. Good for Henry, you know.
Yeah, good for Henry.